Michiana. This is ABC 57 News at 6:30.
A Michiana city dedicated to honoring the apple harvest brings in a lot of out-of-towners, and it's local shops that are really reaping the fruits from this festival. Plus,
we're going to do something big when the ball's in my hands.
Notre Dame's quarterback is confident when it comes to Clemson. Will it be enough to put points on the board in one of the loudest stadiums in the country? Good morning, Michiana, and welcome to ABC 57 News at 6:30. I'm Rachel Brown. Emily Evans has the morning off. We've been following new and developing stories overnight, and we'll get to those in just a second. But first, we want to turn our attention to the weather outside. Let's get right out to ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood meteorologist Greg Bobus. Good morning, Greg.
Hey, good morning. This is a cool start again, and we're going to continue to see cool starts pretty much the next 10 mornings. But this one, it's dipping close to the 30s this morning in some spots. We're in the low 40s in the South Bend area. You absolutely need a jacket this morning. You can see your breath at the bus stop to start off today. We're going to be mostly sunny once the sun comes up, so keep that in mind. A lot of sunshine today, but still, that lingering breeze we've had all week, that's going to be with us as well. We're going to have wind gusts this afternoon that'll be up to 20 miles per hour. Highs today, low 60s, so a lot like yesterday once we hit the afternoon. This weekend, though, a few little roadblocks, nothing major, but the chance for some rain is in the forecast, and we'll look at why that's in the forecast. We'll time it out as well, and we'll also look to even cooler times. We'll catch you back here for all that in 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Greg. Now let's head over to 95.3 MNC's Mark McGill for a look at traffic. Hey, Mark.
Good morning, Rachel, and happy Thursday to you. Some new projects getting underway in South Bend today. North Olive Street is now restricted from Keller to Marquette. Also watch for work being done on West Lathrop Street and east of Bendix. Also closures in South Bend on Oak Street from Sherman to Cottage Grove. And watch for a lane closure, too, along McKinley Avenue at the northeast corner of Preston Drive and McKinley Avenue. Also in downtown, parts of Lafayette Boulevard are still closed at this hour, and they will be for the next week or so. Look out for delays during the rush hour there. They're working on a new power grid in downtown South Bend, right there in Lafayette, to prevent the blackout we had last year. So that'll be a mess for another week or so. Besides that, we're crash-free at this hour. The bypass is fine. Toll Road 2, have a great day and a great drive-in this morning from the MNC Traffic Center. I'm Mark McGill, ABC 57 News.
Happening later today, a formal ceremony. Current Police Chief Ron Teachman will pass the baton to the force's new leader. Uniform Division Chief Scott Ruzikowski will become the 62nd Chief of Police this afternoon. Ruzikowski grew up in South Bend and brings close to 30 years of service to the job. Teachman is leaving the department to work in the private sector. He will head up the parent company of ShotSpotter. Another recent shakeup in public safety leaders. Earlier this week, we told you the executive director of the Consolidated Dispatch Center was asked to step down. His resignation followed months of troubles after the dispatch centers were moved under the same roof. Our Alyssa Marino takes us inside the center now.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
In a small room.
The phone number that you're calling from?
In the back of the South Bend Police Station.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
Sits the men and women on the other end of 911.
It's a very, very important job.
Nancy Mersich has been with St. Joseph County 911 dispatch for a long time.
21 years later, I'm still here.
She says it's a job looked over by some.
They don't understand that we are the first responders.
But it's not one to be taken lightly.
You're 0 to 60 in a matter of seconds when you pick up that phone.
When she answers the phone,
every single phone call that you take in here is someone at their very worst.
Dealing with that emotion isn't easy.
We're human beings.
So take that stress and add a county-wide consolidation of the dispatch centers, the recent loss of some veteran workers, added hours of overtime, and the resignation notice of their executive director.
They're taking it, although it's been extremely harsh this year.
Harsh, to say the least.
Obviously, we're doing the very best we can with what we have.
I asked her about recent reports of officers being called to the wrong scenes.
We're human. That mistakes happen.
She says they're stretched thin right now, but
they have to make do with what they have. And we're trying to do that. I mean, all of us are.
And what about some dispatchers working up to 12 hours with no breaks?
And they are very passionate people. Extremely passionate people.
Nancy says it's tough, but their passion drives them.
You feel as though you're letting someone down if you're not here, or if you're leaving the room short, or if you're in a situation where, you're going to have to work overtime again.
She says things may be a little up in the air right now, but at the end of the day,
We do have their backs. We are listening.
That was our Alyssa Marino reporting. Members of South Bend's Common Council will meet again tonight to talk about next year's budget. A new item in the budget for next year is the Municipal ID program. Mayor Pete Buttigieg introduced the program over the summer, saying it would help people who don't have a driver's license get prescription drugs, enroll in school, or apply for a job. It's slated to cost about $18,000 to get it up and running, but not every council member is on board just yet.
I support the concept of it, and I'm glad to see the concept of it coming together. But until we have what the bill is being presented and what the details are, you cannot support what you cannot see.
Tonight's meeting is set for 6:30 at the Charles Black Community Center. The Four Flags Area Apple Festival is set to begin this afternoon in Niles. In its 43rd year, the festival is expected to bring in tens of thousands of people over the next 4 days. ABC 57's Evan Siri is live in Niles this morning. Evan, what are some of this year's highlights?
Good morning, Rachel. Like you said, this event is now in its 43rd year, so a tradition that is over 40 years long, and it's doing what it does best this year. An anything apple contest, an apple parade, and even an apple seed popping contest are just some of this year's attractions. The 4-day event begins this afternoon and lasts all weekend long. Those in attendance can look forward to a carnival-like atmosphere, which includes 2 Ferris wheels and multiple other rides. The festival started in 1972 to pay tribute to the harvest season, and the festival's founders thought, what better way to honor the harvest than with apples? And this year, nothing is off limits. Dumpling, caramel, donut, and cookie apples will all be at the festival, which took an entire year to put together. Patricia Teeter is on the festival's board of directors and says there's not a lot going on this time of year in Niles, which means this event is a big deal for the area, especially for its economy.
There's not a whole lot of other things going on this time of year, so all the area merchants are happy to see some people coming in and buying their goods. So they're very supportive, and it really does help the economy, bringing a lot of people in from all over.
Patricia says it took 2 weeks to put this event together, set everything up, all the rides, vendors, concessions, etc. And it's a nonprofit, which means all the money made over the next 4 days goes right back into the festival for next year. Reporting live in Niles this morning, Evan Siri, ABC 57 News.
They call it Death Valley for a reason. The Clemson Tigers win more than 70% of their games at home. And this Saturday, the Fighting Irish are their weekend guests. It's the second road game for the Irish, and it's the first time next man in Deshaun Kaiser is starting on enemy turf. ABC 57 caught up with Kaiser on Wednesday. He told us preparing for Clemson starts with having a good practice mindset.
As long as I'm comfortable in my own shoes and I believe in the game plan and I fully get the game plan, that we'll be completely all right and we'll be able to, do the things that we always do from week to week.
The 4-0 Irish take on the 3-0 Tigers Saturday right here on ABC 57. Be sure to tune in at 7 for our Countdown to Kickoff football special for live reports from the sidelines of Memorial Stadium. Time is 6:39. Lawmakers work late into the night to pass a bill to avoid a government shutdown. But the bickering over funding some federal agencies isn't over yet. And billed by the bride, one couple's move to call in the collectors for no-show guests.